and I would really appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful southern coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County. Hello, Oregon. Hello, America and beyond. You're going to love this. We are at the Restoration Worship Center for the Citizens Restoring Liberty every Friday, or not every Friday, every fourth Friday of the month that they have a meeting. This is the last Friday of the month, and this is when they have a meeting. It's at 6:30 here at the Restoration Worship Center. You know, I was just inside and I was talking with a couple of the people up front about this ballot question we have, the advisory vote for Measure 6219, and it's an important vote. It's something that I hope that all of you have been paying attention to. Because we recently got news that BOEM, which stands for the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, has decided that they are going to postpone the auctions for the call areas off the coast of Brookings and off the coast of Coos Bay. So all of you who helped us fight against this nonsense, give yourself a big pat on the back, a huge pat on the back, because this little county and little Curry County, I think they got a little bit worried when we put that ballot measure, or the county commissioners put that ballot question, or that advisory question on the ballot. It was such a beautiful thing that they did. They allowed the voters to lead the day. And that wasn't the reason, though. That was one of the reasons that the businesses pulled out. They said that there was growing opposition in the county against the wind turbine projects, so they were going to pull out of the auction. Now, if they would have got into the auction, it cost these businesses about $2 million just to bid on these call areas. I mean, if it costs just $2 million to do the bid, can you imagine how much money we're actually talking about? This is huge. This is huge. And so we here in Coos County, we helped defeat one of those big projects that was the federal government wanted to force on us. The Green Weenies in Washington, D.C., the Green Weenies in the Oregon legislature, they were trying to shove this project down our throat, and we spit it back up in their face. And that was a beautiful thing. Incredibly beautiful thing. If you don't know, I'm standing out here in front of the Restoration Worship Center. A couple of you are just tapping on right now. And it's a beautiful night here in Bandon. Like I've always said, September is one of the best times of year. You could be out here in July and it could be freezing cold and raining. And right now I'm just wearing a sweatshirt and it's not cold at all. This is perfect weather. This is beautiful. It's not windy. Got a light breeze. I mean, this is the best time of year if you want to come to Oregon, or especially Bandon or the South Coast. September is the month to do it. We do great stuff down here. But I want to get back to what the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management has done and why they've done it. The reason they stopped the auction is because 4 of the 5 bidders pulled out of the auction because of pressure. But that wasn't just pressure coming from the local people. It was also the fact that they were worried that Donald Trump would win this election, and we hope he does win this election, But they believe that if he wins this election, he would pull the plug on all these wind turbine projects. And I think he would. I think this would be something Donald Trump would absolutely pull a plug on, because it makes no sense. These wind turbines make absolutely no sense, and it would only be reasonable, and it would probably be benefit or respect what the people want here in the Southern Oregon coast. We don't want these wind turbines. So that's the number one reason that BOEM just yesterday canceled the auction. And the second thing that the reason was the tribes, especially the Confederate tribes here in Coos County, they sued the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management for not doing their due diligence to find out what the effects of this project would be on the environment and nature and the species that live all over the coast, on and off land, because this isn't just an offshore project. This was going to be an on land project. And before I go, hey, you get over here, man. I want to talk to you. We're live right now on the show, and I want to know, was that a great speech by Noah Robinson or what?
I loved it.
And what do you think about the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management finally pulling that auction? Oh, come on, don't give me speechless. You're on video, man. You got to give me something here.
I know.
You don't know? You don't have anything good to say? Not really? Do you think it's
Not about BOEM.
not about BOEM? Well, of course not. But do you think that it's something that they're going to come back with, especially if we get Kamala back as president?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely they'll come. But I like the thought of the Indians being against it.
Yeah.
Remember that ocean reserve they wanted to force upon us?
Yeah.
Gotten up off the coast there in the silt beds or whatever, and the Indians got involved, and that chief come out and they kind of pretty much stopped that too.
Yeah.
So maybe even if Kamala does get elected, maybe with the Indians involved against it, because it makes no sense.
And I'm going to sound like a total white racist, white nationalist, whatever they accuse me of. Isn't it wrong, really, that one group of people, in this case the Indians, have more say over a project than everyone else? It doesn't seem like it's an equal situation. You know what I mean? Don't you think that's wrong in many ways?
Yeah, but it was nice. But yeah.
Well, I definitely think it's wrong as well, and I think, in fact, it causes an animosity that could be mistaken for racism, because when you give certain people privilege, then everyone else is going, well, wait a minute, what about my piece of the pie? What about my word? Isn't my voice just as good as anyone else?
Yeah, but you're white.
I know. And it's because we're white males, we're the only one it's legitimately okay to be racist against or prejudiced against. And so,
Critical race theory.
Yeah,
What a
totally.
beautiful thing, huh?
Critical race theory. Of course, they're really not anymore. It's not really critical race theory. They're pushing, it's critical race theory, but they call it something else: diversity, equity, and inclusion, where diversity means people of different colors and different sexes. Equity means that everyone has to start from the same place. So that's socialism, communism. And inclusion, I don't think they're very inclusive, because you and I probably would be left out of the scenario. So, I always find that hilarious when they talk about inclusion. I don't think I'm included in that inclusion part. Yeah. Well, thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
You have a safe drive home. You got to go down to Coos Bay, right?
Yes, sir.
Have a safe drive home, but you got beautiful weather to do it in. All right, man. So this is one of the big things that happens in Bandon on Friday night. The last Friday of the month is the Citizens Restoring Liberty meetings. And I don't think they're advertising it enough. I think we had a very slight turnout, and it could be a little bit better if we just advertise this a little bit more, because I think the group is a good group of people. And I think they have a lot to give to society overall, because there's so few people who are of what I call normal people who are fighting against the insanity out there, the insanity that's being pushed on us, like this wind turbine project, for example. But that's not the only thing. There's just a lot of nonsense, a lot of policies that they're pushing on the people that just are not going to work. So I'm hoping that some of the people that are waiting in the lobby right there, they're going to come out and we can have a few words with them. I do want to catch Noah Robinson here. He came all the way down from Cave Junction, which is a hell of a drive. I mean, it's Cave Junction is a beautiful place out there, and him and his father and his family live out there on their property out in Cave Junction. It's a beautiful area. It's plagued with a lot of wildfires because they have the same problems that we have here in our area. There's, a lot of mismanagement of the natural resources, especially the forest. So it's just not, it's just not conducive sometimes to having the most, the best opportunities that you can have on your property if they're in danger all the time from wildfires. And the city of Bandon is always pushing the fact that we got to prepare for this tsunami. I'm more worried about the wildfire myself. So let me see if we can get a word from them. They're coming out right now. Hey, Noah, can I get a few words with you? Oh, that'd be great. Hey, Noah.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. You did a great job up there. And like I said, you were talking about something that's not talked about quite often. In fact, you were talking about integrity and how a lot of the politicians sell out their integrity when they go to Salem, and they vote for things that they really normally wouldn't vote for, but they're trying to wheel and deal, get favors, and then eventually you erode that integrity one vote at a time. And so my question for you, wow, you're very tall. You're a very tall man. I'm sorry about that. People were just looking at your chest. But my question to you is, at what point, and I want you to answer this for my audience, is at what point does that compromise become too great of a burden? I mean, when do you balance your integrity against the practicality of getting money back to your district?
Never. If integrity is first, and if what you're talking about voting for is a straight moral issue, in most cases a straight ethical issue, then you don't. And yes, you're not going to get the money back to your district, but the integrity is far more important.
Do you think that that's, because, I don't know how much people follow that, because the legislature, and I don't mean to be putting it down, but it's boring to a lot of people. You got the campaign, and that's exciting. You got your side, you got their side and stuff. But the legislature is something that, people, it's like watching sausage be made. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times people don't find interest in it. So do you think that there are conservatives out there who, after they go and they wheel and deal and they lose some of their integrity, that when they come back, that the people really don't know that they're being sold out, and that's how a lot of times we get politicians that aren't as good a quality that we'd like to have keep being sent back?
Yeah, because people are not aware of the details. So it's very true. They come back, they talk a conservative line or whatever, get elected, and then they go up there and make deals. And some of them think that they're helping with the deals. Right. It doesn't work.
Right. It seems like almost every time we always get the losing stick, the end of the stick. You know what I mean? The short end of the stick. We always get that when they're wheeling and dealing because, and you made a great point of this in your speech, is that the Democrats have been playing this a long time. Yes. And so they play the game, and the car salesman would do this. They'll put more in it than what you think so that you will, okay, let's go ahead and we'll argue against that so we can make it a better bill. But in the end, it was what the Democrats wanted in the first place because they knew you were going to fight against the most egregious part of the bill.
That's right. And the only solution to that is simply, on the final vote, look at it and say, is this a good bill or a bad bill? Not how far did I push it? Is it a good idea or a bad idea? And if it's and generally, if it's a multi-part bill, if there are bad things in it, don't vote for it.
Right.
It takes an awful lot of good to balance out a little bit of bad.
So you mentioned several senators, and the three that I admire the most is your father, Art, and of course Dennis Linthicum and Kim Thatcher. When I go and I'm following the legislature, and this is what a nerd I am, I go and I follow every bill that you guys put out of the legislature. And I look at it and I go, how would I vote on that? And then I put yes or no. And then to find out if I was right, I go back and I look how your father votes. I looked how Dennis Linthicum voted. I looked at Kim Thatcher. And if we're in agreement, I go, oh, well, then I don't even have to worry. Is that kind of what, I know you're not going to follow, but that's kind of how you do it?
Especially Linthicum and my dad and Thatcher are very good most of the time. Yeah, they're fantastic. You follow the good people and you'll find out that you'll agree with them most of the time. And right now, the Democrats are in control. Most of the votes should be a no.
Do you have a Democrat challenger?
Yes, I do. But it's a conservative district. I'll take it serious. I'm running seriously in the general.
Right.
But it's a conservative district, so yeah, I do.
That's what I figured. It was as soon as you won the primary, you won, and that was a really wild primary. To be quite honest with you, I was impressed that you did as well as you did. But I think going back to your talking about integrity, I think the lack of integrity, because you had a really good opponent. She had a really good record, and I think what she did in the election, she was willing to do. That people saw that. I think it kind of sold out her integrity, which people lost respect.
Right. She was saying that you should need to wheel and deal. And can I come back?
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
You got it. So, Marshall, are you doing all right? You got a newer vehicle. Well, that's good. That's good. I love banding this time of night. Did you find them? Oh, I completely understand. He looked like he was ready to go sit in the car. So I was hoping.
He got really sick a couple years ago, and he's slowly getting better.
That's good. That's good. You just talked about the school districts and how they're trying to take away the authority of the school board. Is there any way to stop that other than getting rid of the Democrats at this point?
Well, you want to make it hot for it.
Okay.
Every time there's legislation, anybody can testify. They can't stop you, and they're good about it. They
Right.
try to get anybody in that signs up. So you need citizens up there when they have these bills and there were sessions coming up. You need people to come up and testify and say we don't like this. Schools should be locally run. The state should be totally out of it.
Right.
Because the school boards are elected by the parents, right? The parents care. One of the other things that happens once the state has too much control is the school boards aren't as active because, they figure the state's controlling it. But if it was entirely the school board, you find people paying more attention to the school board meetings too.
Yeah, and you put a lot more pressure on them if you actually show up in person, and that's something I found out is this is what frustrates me when I go to the county commissioners meeting because I don't get to make it all the time up to the legislature. Is that you'll have some bad policy that they're trying to pass, they're trying to enact, and most of the people would be opposed to it, but no one shows up for whatever reason. And I always tell people who do show up, because you'll get those few, one or two, but you have to stand up and talk, because if you don't, it's like you were never there. So would you encourage people, even if you're just to get up to say, no, I'm opposed to this, and sit back down?
Exactly. Definitely. You want to come to those meetings. The problem is most people are busy, and their lives are a lot harder because of what the state's doing to them. They're scrambling to make ends meet. They have their jobs. They have the things they're trying to do. And so there's all sorts of reasons why they can't come. And so every time you come, every time you speak up, the politicians actually do count. I know they do. If they see another person is opposed to it, it dampens enthusiasm. And remember, they have a whole bunch of things they're trying to pass. You want things to fall off, so they decide, hey, I will not do that this time. And there's always a lot of bills they try to do that they don't get through.
Right.
Because they decide not to. And some of them are the ones that a lot of people get on and say, hey, this is terrible.
Right. And that's, there's a lot of scary bills that have been passed. House Bill 2002, the Child Mutilation Act, scary bills. But what I tell people is if you don't watch the legislature, these bills really are nothing compared to the bills that are killed before they get out, because there have been some really bad,
The best,
I mean, yeah.
the best time to stop a bill is before it even gets through committee. Stop it there, because they can decide what advances and what doesn't. And when there's a lot of pressure, stop it.
You live in Cave Junction,
Yeah.
which is a heavily wooded area.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful area,
Yeah.
and it's also being mismanaged by the federal government.
The forest, yeah, disaster. We lost our last. Well, it's been a while now, but when we moved there were 6 or 8 mills in the valley. The last one held on, and a number of years ago they had to close too. There's no mills left in the valley.
Which, even if they removed a lot of the regulations and were allowed to take down trees, there's really nowhere for them to go.
Yeah, they have to ship more corn.
Yeah, so they've destroyed the industry from the inside out.
No, that used to be, the timber industry used to be what ran that area.
Yep.
And the people that worked in the mill, they got good jobs. It was nice, and now all that is gone.
Now all that is gone. Are you living, because you've got a huge property out there, are you living, and I shouldn't say huge, good sized property out there, but do you worry that because of the federal government's mismanaged, that they're going to destroy your lifestyle because the fires could potentially kill things?
The fires came over the hill and they almost did burn our property. We were out there fighting the fires. And yeah, the mismanagement is a threat to everyone. And yeah, they almost burned down the forest around us and on our property.
And you were actually out there fighting the fires.
We were out there fighting. They didn't come till a long time later.
That's incredible. And you wonder what you're paying your taxes for.
That's right.
I had talked to Matt, and I was ordering signs and that year, and he had told me, Rob, I'd love to get on those. I'm in the middle of fighting the forest fire right now. And it was like, that was incredible, because we have the threat out here. We just haven't had it in several years, and it's only because of luck. And so we know that things like the Elliott Forest is eventually going to burn because they're not going to manage it. They refuse to manage. In fact, the Elliott Forest is in limbo. And so what do you think? Is there anything you can do at the state level right now to I don't know, encourage, coerce the feds to start, cutting down trees again? What is there anything?
You have to try, and you know what they need to be doing, but it's a problem. And they also need to fight the fires better. You get on these things and put them out when they start, not wait.
Yeah, that's what I always find amazing, that they're actually waiting to fight these fires, and then you guys are risking your life out there immediately, and I don't understand that logic where we would wait. It's I don't know.
I don't understand most of the logic from state agencies. They're not rational.
They're not rational. Oh boy, I know you've got a long drive back, and so I'm going to let you go. You got to drive back tonight?
I've got some other things to go to.
Good. Okay. Well, you have a good time, and thank you so much for it. No problem. We'll make sure and keep in touch. Well, I'm going to cut it short this evening because I got the interview that I wanted, and I'll tell you right now, I have great hopes for Noah Robinson. I think he's going to be one of our best representatives, our best senators, not representatives, they're all legislators, but he's going to be our best senator in Salem, and he's just going to be phenomenal. And so I hope the best for him. I know he's going to win, and I'm glad that we still have a friend in office. And let's see. Let me see if I can get some of these. Let's see. Okay, I thought I had some pictures for you. We are having tomorrow, we're having a rally noon in Gold Beach, still against the wind turbines. We're still going to fight this. We're still going to put pressure on, because we know that BOEM, this is just a temporary measure of them halting the auctions. They've only postponed it for a short amount of time. We need to keep the pressure up. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. So tomorrow we're going to be at Gold Beach at noon. You're more than welcome to join us. We'll have signs for you. And then we're going to be heading down to Brookings. But it all starts at noon in front of the courthouse in Gold Beach. And I also want to let you know, I wish I had the flyer, but you can check this out on my Facebook page, Rob Taylor Report. You can go to my website, robtaylorreport.com. I'm going to have it up here by tonight. And that is, we're having a Trump train Yes, a Trump train, and it's going to start in Coos Bay, and we're going to go all the way down to Brookings. So this is next Saturday, October 5th at 9 o'clock. If you want to meet us, this is 9 in the morning. Meet us on Front Street, right in front of the South Brothers headquarters. There's a length of street that we can park on because there's not a lot of traffic there. We can get everyone lined up, and then we're going to Trump train it all the way down to Brookings, going through Bandon, going through Gold Beach, and then we're going to have an event in Brookings. So I hope you certainly join us. And so until next week, carry on, Coos County, carry on.